Tafara.
My name is Tafara Williams. On October 20, 2020, the Waukegan Police Department opened fire on me and Marcellis while we had our hands raised in the air. I lost more than a boyfriend that day. I lost the love of my life and the father of my 7-month-old son. Here's the only thing I had left of Marcellis. Last Tuesday, I had just put my babies to bed and was sitting outside in the driver's seat of my car to smoke outside the house. Marcellus was sitting in the passenger seat, and an officer arrived and pulled up behind my parked car. He didn't turn on his lights or sirens. He got out the police car, so I rolled down my windows and turned on all the lights inside the car so the officer could see I had no weapons and I wasn't doing anything illegal. The officer called Marcellis by name. He asked me, was I Tafara? And told me I was Marcellis' baby mother. Then he started harassing Marcellis. He stood near the car with his left hand on his gun. And he said to Marcellis, I know you from jail. I asked the officer if we were free to leave. I asked him if we were under arrest. The officer took a few steps away from the car and got on his cell phone. I drove away very slowly because I was scared to get out of the car. I drove out to MLK and turned onto it. The officer was not following me. The police lights were not on. When I turned on to MLK, it seemed like there was another officer there waiting for us. There was a crash and I lost control. The officer was shooting at us. The car ended up slamming into a building. I kept screaming, I don't have a gun. But he kept shooting. He told me to get out of the car. I had my hands up and I couldn't move because I had been shot. Marcellus had his hands up. I kept asking him why he was shooting. Marcellus kept shaking. More officers came and were pointing their guns at us. My blood was gushing out on my body. The officers started yelling. They wouldn't give us an ambulance until we got out the car. When I moved, blood seemed to pour out of my body on the floor of the car, on the ground, everywhere, man. I could hear Marcellus still breathing. I told him, please don't shoot. I have a baby. We have a baby. We don't want to die. An officer dragged me away from Marcellus. I begged him to take him first because he had just got surgery not too long ago. They ignored me. They laid Marcellus on the ground and covered him up with a blanket while he was still breathing. I know he was still alive. And they took that away from me instead of letting, oh man. Sorry. He was still breathing. Oh man. And they took me away instead of letting him. Man, they took me away. And allowed him to die. They wanted us to bleed out on the ground. They wanted us to die. Please take me off.